Welcome back to the Canna Connect Show, Season 2, brought to you by What Rebates. I'm here with Aidan McCluskey.
What's up, man?
Professional comedian, soon to be upcoming host of Canna Connect Brainerd.
Yeah.
Super excited to have you back in the North Woods.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited. The Garrison one was fun.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah.
Do you remember how many gummies you left with from that event?
So many. I ended up giving so many away
Good.
because it was like 2-gallon bags of your friend's rejects. So it was massive. They got stale at a certain point.
Yeah.
But I kept eating them.
Sometimes when I watch your show, I'll think back to because you're a cannabis user, it's not like what you talk about on stage, but like I pick up on that. So sometimes I'm like, man, I wonder how he did with all those gummies.
Yeah, I tried my best.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a pretty high tolerance, but like you can only eat so many of them before it's like, this is fucking eating candy at
Totally.
this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And THC on top of THC on top of THC, like you kind of know what that feels like. Hey everybody, Stephen with Canna Connect, taking a quick minute to shout out today's sponsor, CEE. That is the Center for Energy and Environment. If you're not familiar with CEE, they're your one-stop shop for all lighting rebates. If you are in XL Energy territory and you're a micro business, CEE is somebody that you need to talk to. Give Brad a call, give Tony a call, go online, one-stop shop, LED lighting rebates. They'll help take care of up to 60% of the costs associated with your grow and your build-out with the lighting. Really nice people, great people to work with, huge sponsors of Canna Connect, and give them a shout. That's CEE, Center for Energy and Environment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, I was using them at night
Oh, good.
to like help me sleep.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, I'm taking 2 a night, but I have 2-gallon bags. I got to start giving them away. So I just started giving them to people as like gifts,
Right.
shit, and putting them in my own bags.
It's, I mean, that's often what I do with products.
Yeah.
You get gifted and people share. It's very communal in this industry or this space. And I just remember like at the end of Garrison Hempfest, like we didn't make a lot of money, but we sure had a lot of products to hand out.
Absolutely. And like the thing is, like, I don't know, being in high school, I always used to be like, like how rappers post with like bricks. And I was like, that's so cool. But then you get enough weed given to you where you're like, oh, I realistically can't use all this. There's really no way.
Yeah.
I need like a half ounce and that'll last me plenty of time.
Yeah, I mean, you don't stay 18 to 22 for forever.
No.
I think, first time I saw you perform was at Acme, probably 2022 or 2023.
Started, yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
Tell people a little bit about what you do for a living, kind of like how things are going.
Yeah. So stand-up comedian, started at Acme. Well, I guess realistically, I started at Boobs Brewing in Winona.
Okay.
This is where I did my first open mic, and then I went to Goonies in Rochester, Acme, and then I worked my way up through Acme.
It's called Boobs?
Yeah, B-U-B-S.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but pronounced boobs, I guess. Yeah.
And you're from Wisconsin, so were you traveling from home to Winona?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because my parents live closer to Minnesota than we do like Madison.
Yeah.
So it was easier to just drive over there and to come up this way. There's more comedy up here than there is closer places in the state.
It's kind of interesting how close the Twin Cities are to Wisconsin.
Yeah. I mean, within 35, 40 minutes you're in Hudson.
Yeah.
It's really not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what gets sketchy about like driving to and from with the weed is it's like you kind of forget that I do when I visit back home. I'm like, oh yeah, I would go to jail here for this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and get this, like this is what has shook fear into my heart. Like if you're traveling with weed in Minnesota, it has to be in its original packaging, stored in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And like think of like a liter or a 7.5 in like that same way, cap on.
Yeah. So what if the seal, because like I bought half ounce it's in the original thing, but it's like very clearly I've used it.
Sure. But in that case, then it's got to be in the trunk.
Yep.
You know, your paraphernalia cannot be within the cabin.
Yep.
Not how I travel with weed.
Generally not, because I don't think about, if I go out, it's like in my pocket. And then I just get in my car and drive, even if I'm not smoking, and it's just in my pocket.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, I would be in trouble. I didn't even know that.
Well, and I think part of it is like, you know, for depending on how you use cannabis recreationally, part of it is like, I just like to have it on me or it's nearby. You know, it's like, and it's a crutch in that case, right? But it's, in a legality standpoint, it's a DUI.
Yeah, well, do they have accurate ways of testing? Because I know for a little bit it was like a blood test and then they have the mouth swab, but I've heard both of those are like not very accurate.
True. I think the bigger problem, or the harder problem to get around, is the open container aspect.
Yeah.
So whether you're impaired or not, like, and dude, I don't even like talking about this because like I've had probably like what I was saying before. It's like I have to make sure that I am not breaking the law, because that would be a huge problem if I did. And like one of the things I wanted to talk to you about on the show is like, if you look at the Midwest, which you've played shows all across the Midwest, every state has a really different rule or program within cannabis as we know it in Minnesota. Like in North Dakota, it's medical marijuana. South Dakota, medical marijuana. Iowa, medical marijuana. All of a sudden you get to Minnesota, it's like, oh, okay, there's some sensible rules here. Depending on how you look at it. Then you get over to Wisconsin, and you've got THCA flower, high milligram gummies and drinks, and they don't even have medical marijuana at all.
Oh, they don't?
Right.
Oh, I thought they did for some reason.
And so it's easier to turn on adult use recreational cannabis or a recreational program when you have a medical marijuana program, because then you can kind of like grow those programs together and bounce them off of each other to move some people to the the market moves both ways, right? But like, and we don't have to get into the nitty gritty, but like, for example, right now in Minnesota, and this has been the case all year and dating back to last year, the medical marijuana companies are offering or have offered free medical cards.
Yeah.
Because then, I mean, I'm going to speak pretty like candidly, then they get you into their loyalty program, they get you into their app, they get you into like their rewards and things like that. On the consumer side, you end up saving money because you don't have to pay the 15% tax.
Well, here, I went to a dispensary and I was like, well, these prices are ridiculous. And then she gave me a card to sign up for medical use, but it was like $300 or something like that. And I'm like, well, I'm also not going to pay that. I'll just get it illegally. How I've been doing it. Why would I do all of this? And then there's certain products that they're like, oh no, that's just for the medical. But I'm like, you gave me a fucking card and said I could sign up in the parking lot. So if I did that and then came right back in, you would be like, oh yes, right here.
I mean, she probably left off a few hoops that you have to jump through.
Yeah.
Because then you get lined up with a store pharmacist, and then they're going to diagnose you and talk to you about like what products are good for you. So there is a little bit of a lead time in becoming a medical cannabis patient. However, they market it in a sense that like pretty much anyone in Minnesota now can become a medical cannabis patient. It wasn't like that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. In the last 3 years, the medical marijuana program has added flower. Up until I'm loosely saying 3 years, up until recently, the products were in pill form, extract, gummies, all further refined products that are more expensive to produce. And then the card that you talk about that you've always needed since 2014, that was very expensive. And so it kept a lot of people out and it pushed a lot of people to the black market. And we're still seeing that in Minnesota because you're paying after tax, you're paying $60 an eighth.
An eighth, yeah. Well, that's the part that gets me is the price discrepancy in the different states. Because I've gone to a lot of different states, and it's like Michigan is extremely cheap. California is very cheap. Oregon's been very cheap, and it's like I would buy regularly from a dispensary if those were the prices I could anticipate paying. But it's like when you get to $60 an eighth, it's like no chance.
Yeah.
What am I in high school again?
Cash only.
Yeah.
You're not. You can't Venmo the store.
No, you can't. Some of them, they wouldn't even, I went to one, they wouldn't let me use my debit card. They were like, you got to use the ATM.
Oh,
and
so that's going to be $3.50 plus the $60 eighth.
Right. And it's like, it's not worth it. Or a 1 gram joint for $22. And it's like, no shot. In what world would anyone pay that?
People are paying it. And hopefully we're not here for that much longer. It's all supply and demand.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, from my perspective, to see Michigan's frustrating in a lot of ways. So there's some companies that benefit from like number of transactions.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you sell Mylar bags.
Yeah.
So you sell product packaging.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much volume in Michigan that the Mylar bag companies are happy, for example.
Gotcha.
But then the cultivators and the businesses that are growing weed are selling weed at such a low price.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, they're not happy.
I see. Yeah.
Because the price is $8 a gram.
Yep.
And right now, like, you could drive out to a dispensary in Wayzata and pay $20 a gram.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just over in Fridley. Because I live in Blaine, there's one in Fridley. And yeah, I think that was listed at $55 an eighth. But it's like, with the tax and with everything else, it's going to be well over $60, close to $70.
So what they screwed up is they licensed stores and growers at the same time.
So what should have been the effect? The growers and then, yeah, okay.
Right. You gotta let it grow.
Yeah.
And they had a window to do that. And they had consultants from Maine that were advising, because this was a whole. So also, there was before you and I knew each other, there was the Office of Medical Cannabis that oversaw the medical cannabis program.
Yep.
And then for a few years there was hemp. Think like CBD water and CBD gummies, those types of things.
Yeah.
That was overseen by the Department of Ag in Minnesota. And then when we legalized, we needed a new agency.
Yeah.
And so the OCM, the Office of Cannabis Management, has absorbed the hemp and the medical.
Oh, okay.
But the state of Minnesota had to build a new agency. The government had to build a new a whole new group of bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Government folk. And yes, you can have compassion and empathy because this is a whole new venture, and we had a pretty minimal medical program, right? So more robust medical cannabis states with more robust medical cannabis programs, like Ohio, for example.
Yeah.
So more operators, more patients, more people patrolling. They were able to flip onto adult use recreational faster than Minnesota was.
Gotcha.
In like the number of years it took before like a regular dispensary got open.
Yeah.
However, medical cannabis is typically, the businesses in the medical cannabis space are typically larger, more corporate, more multi-state operator like. And so what Minnesota has going for it, because the medical cannabis program was so small and niche, that there wasn't a lot of brand loyalty. There wasn't a lot of users buying
prior to the total legalization.
Exactly, which is referred to as adult use. So what that means is there's shops in Fridley and Hopkins and Blaine popping up that you may want to support, or that you may have brand affinity for, things like that. So in some ways, it is fulfilling this craft market where like everyday middle to upper class, or folks that can find funding, are able to live out the American dream and start a company. Yeah. Cannabis is one of the hardest industries though to like be successful in, because there are so many there's so much like there's a lot of taxation involved with it.
Yeah.
But the supply right now in Minnesota is predominantly coming from the tribal organizations and the 2 medical companies that are out-of-state operators.
Yeah.
So the folks that are selling cannabis, like that are growing it and more on the craft side, are small.
Okay. The tribe makes, because initially, like, I have a buddy who's native, and he was getting it at his reservation that he would go visit his grandparents on, and he was buying it and then bringing it back down. But it was before anything else adult use was.
Really?
Yeah.
So
way before.
Okay, because that's what I was going to ask. Because, for example, Red Lake Nation, which is like the most north tribe, which I'm wondering maybe your friend is a Red Laker.
It's way the fuck up north. I know he drives like 3.5 hours up there.
White Earth and Red Lake.
Yeah.
And so I know for sure Red Lake, but I believe both had medical cannabis programs on reservation, which is where, in this case, your friend was getting their cannabis from.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because it allowed, well, one, they're sovereign. And so the state because we had medical cannabis in St. Paul, that gave signal to the tribes that if they wanted to provide medical cannabis for their people, they could do that without worrying about the state of Minnesota.
Oh, so it was a precedent set here before, and then they just did it better, basically.
Yeah, for their people. And in the case of Red Lake, one thing that's really cool is this has never happened in any other state. We legalized August 1st, 2023. Red Lake opened their first their adult use open to the public dispensary August 1st, 2023.
Oh, so day of, they were ready to go.
They flipped to and yeah, exactly. I mean, you can take what you want out of that right there. Red Lake is interesting where they're not they have, I'm going to misspeak here. They have more sovereignty. There's this thing called 280 that they don't have to abide by that allows them to just like essentially report to Washington. So they have
so it bypasses on a state level and goes federal.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so they have more they have a unique ability to really do what they feel is best for their tribe.
Yeah. But because when Minnesota legalized, I was really excited. And then they fumbled the bag entirely.
Because I'm a store, I got my license the same time you did as a grower.
Oh.
So what am I supposed to do if you don't have plants in the ground yet?
But the thing that I don't understand is like, so if they've been growing it medically and it's been around for a while,
right?
They can't just be like, okay, now you can do it for both.
That's a great point. You know what's crazy about Grow Pros?
What?
Is like less than a year ago, I just thought they were like a cool brand to aspire to, like
Premium, top tier, like, whoa, untouchable.
Yeah, like how am I ever gonna get their attention?
Yeah.
And now here we are talking about them on the Canna Connect Show.
Love it.
I couldn't have done it without you. You are a Grow Pro.
Well, welcome.
And you have solutions. But Grow Pro Solutions is for cultivators and for people that are looking to build within Minnesota's cannabis space. They have a variety of solutions, no matter who you are, what you need. Grow Pros can help you go from an idea to a real grow.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate their support. And check out their episode with Benchplug Benjamin Matsuda on the Canna Connect Show. However, the amount that they were growing for medical, let's say they were helping less than 100,000 people as patients. Well, we have like 5 million, 6 million people in Minnesota. So what the medical companies were growing, and believe me, you bring up a good point, like they were advocating for like, give us unlimited canopy limits, we'll grow for everybody.
Yeah.
But that then gives the bag to just like 2 private companies.
And you said those are out-of-state companies?
Initially, one came from a group that it was a large group, but the Bachman family was involved. So like think the Floral and Garden
Oh yeah,
Bachman's,
they were growing weed. Oh
Yes, so they had the first license out of Cottage Grove.
yeah.
But like I want to stay on your point. You have some grows in California that are 1 million square feet.
Holy shit. Okay.
And then the medical companies in Minnesota, they're fighting for like 20,000 to 40,000 square feet.
Oh, okay.
So the nice thing is, from my perspective, the nice thing is like we haven't handed over the HOV lane to just a couple of big companies to like just dominate.
Yeah.
There's like intentionality with the license, the square footage, so that like you get 5,000. So if you're a micro business, let's say you throw the state $500, you put your license in, you've got your plan, your tray is Aidan, they're going to make a grow. Like you could do that relatively inexpensive or at the lowest cost, and you would be able to grow like 5,000 square feet indoor or like X amount outdoor.
Mm.
And that micro license was seen as a unique feature of the Minnesota cannabis program, because like not you or I, but like guys not unlike ourselves that have a serious grow how are putting everything on the line and saying, I'm going for it with the micro license.
Yeah.
And then that micro license can turn into a meso license, which is 15,000 square feet. So now you're looking at it, but still that pales in comparison to 1 million square feet,
Right.
which there's one company in California or maybe two companies, but they're out.
Even still that they exist.
They exist.
Yeah.
And because every cannabis market develops differently because it's a state-run market. Cannabis, as we're recording this, is still federally illegal. So each state is going to bring each market develops differently, which is what I was kind of talking to you about, is like that's why you see such disparity or such wide acceptance or limitations when you look at the Midwest. Minnesota's got a new scaling adult use market. Michigan's got a mature adult use market. Illinois has a broad legal access and a large medical list, but there's a lot of taxes that raise the checkout price.
Illinois is also crazy.
You were just in Chicago.
Yeah, I was just in Chicago. I bought a 0.5 gram vape for after taxes, like close to $50. I think it ended up being $47.
Wow.
But it's still cheaper than here.
Yeah.
And when I did try to get a vape, that was when they said I needed a medical license.
In Minnesota. Because
Yeah.
I mean, we still haven't fully explored that. So like right now, you keep using these two medical companies, for example, like inside their facility, they have to have a room that's just for medical patients. So flowers that are being grown just for medical patients, and then a separate room that's just for adult use recreation.
Distinguishes those two
There's
rooms?
nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's not like they need more sanitation and protocol in the medical versus there's no distinguishing feature. Okay.
Right. It's a great question because it's like, it's a surprising answer. Now, in the latest legislative session, they've bifurcated the supply chain, which means they're going to take away some of these unnecessary separations between medical and adult use. However, when you bring it back to like the origins of why people use cannabis, oftentimes for pain management, a big thing that can't happen is medical flower cannabis companies can't run out of product.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on behalf of the patients.
Yeah.
So they could sell more flower if they just focused on adult use, typical dispensary.
Yeah.
However, there's certain like allotments that they have to ensure that they're still providing for the medical patients, which is why, because there's more requirements to like ensure they're kept in good supply, that's why there's incentives for a patient to get their card. So then you're going to have, for now, that you're going to have more access to the dispensary products like that vape.
Yeah.
And so it gets very confusing for just the everyday consumer who's like, oh, we legalized. I mean, to kind of take you back to 2023, you're like, great, we're going to have weed.
Yeah.
The best thing we've got up until maybe recently was we got home grow right away.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's mostly where I've been getting product from, is my friends will grow more than they need and they'll gift it. And
Gotcha. Yeah, well, that was the thing is, like, there was, like, a gray area where it was legal, but it still felt illegal. Where it was like,
Yeah.
I know it is, but it feels like if I get caught with this, I'm still gonna be in trouble. Because I can't go to there's no stores around me, there's nothing that says this is legal to have beyond me having it and knowing that that's...
Yeah. I had Tanner Barris on a few months ago, and he was my previous co-host of the Northern Lights podcast.
Mm.
And he had looked into some of the numbers around arrests. And the good news is very few people have been arrested since August 1st, 2023 for growing too much cannabis
Yeah.
or having cannabis on them. When you get into like trying to distribute and sell cannabis, there's more arrests than that. But like for an average person who's just walking to the movies and has cannabis on them, like
Yeah.
very few people have been arrested since August 1st, 2023.
But why are they still being arrested?
I guess technically if you had more than 2 ounces on you or more than 4 pounds inside your home, I think there were like, the number was like 4 people
Yeah.
that had been arrested for like having 5 pounds or having.
Gotcha.
You-
Okay. So it's an obscene amount. It's not like
Yeah.
a user like me.
It's not a user. No, it would be like a passionate home grower who knows what they're doing, is
Gotcha.
utilizing lighting and things like that could get a yield of several pounds per plant.
Gotcha. So they just have a surplus. They happen to have a surplus and then get searched. And
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the search part, like, I'm sure there were some details to the story, right?
Yeah.
Because like, I feel pretty safe. No, like, I mean, white privilege, but like I haven't been pulled over in a while. I haven't been pulled over in so long, like it's starting to worry me a little bit. Like,
I know that feeling. Yeah. I usually get it about once a year. I get something happens. But the part that scares me is the DUI and that there's not an effective way to test for it. Because it's like,
yeah,
well, I definitely have used it within the last 24 hours, sure.
Mhm.
But whether that was this morning and I don't feel it anymore and it's not affecting me at all, or maybe 2 hours ago and I don't feel fucked up, but
right.
they have some scale that they're able to test
I
on.
mean, there was this viral video that we put out that was like the mouth swab where
Yeah.
they took footage from the news and like it very much looked like he was doing something in his mouth.
Yeah.
But like the problem is when you try to compare a breathalyzer for alcohol to a breathalyzer for cannabis, the problem is alcohol and cannabis are not the same. Like
Yeah.
it could be in your system for a month, right? And depending on how they're testing for it, like a urine test or something like that. But the data has shown that the testing for these roadside tests are not legit,
Right.
100%.
But then it's like somebody like me, I don't have a lawyer.
Right.
I can't pay somebody to be like, well, no, actually this test is ineffective.
Right.
If I would still get a DUI. Like there's really no fighting that. And the problem is it's like if you get a DUI then you can't go to Canada. And one of the biggest like comedy festivals
Sure.
is in Canada.
Right.
So it's like if I were to get that's a felony and I can't cross.
I'm sure there's
over
been comedian
international-
careers that have been
Oh, yeah.
affected by that.
Yeah, I mean, just even not even talking about weed at all, but like I remember an old comic that I like kind of taught me like the ropes of stand up was like last thing you want to get is a DUI because then you can't go to Just for Laughs.
Just for laughs.
And
Is that
it's
in Ottawa?
or
Montreal? Yeah.
And he's like, I knew a guy that happened to. He was like, he got a DUI and he couldn't go. So it's like that's my biggest incentive beyond
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like the only thing I do illegally in my day is that.
Yeah.
And that's really the only rule I break. And if that weren't a rule, I would live a totally legal lifestyle.
Likewise. So, I mean, for me, like I was telling you, it's like put it in the trunk or leave it at home. Like use it before you leave the house or after you get home.
Yeah.
Like that's the safest way. And like I'm saying it out loud. I'm trying to like convince myself because like I'm a super hard worker and I don't want to throw it away.
No,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing is it's like that is really the only sort of trouble I could get myself in. And I don't smoke in the car at all.
Sure.
I put in eye drops before I go anywhere.
Nice.
And if there aren't any, I won't smoke because I'm like, my eyes get really, really red.
Yeah.
So, and that is seemingly the only tell. I don't know what grounds beyond that they would have to pull you out of your car.
Right.
And I guess that's what worries me about it, is not knowing what they're going to be like. Do you smoke weed? And I don't feel like I look high at all. And
You're scaring me just talking.
you know what I mean? That's what stresses me out. And then even 4 or 5 years ago when I first moved to the city and I was smoking weed, I would smoke and drive and not really think about it. But now as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, I really don't want to be in trouble for this.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I don't know why. Maybe my brain like fully matured, but I'm
There
like,
you go.
oh, I could get in a lot of trouble, and it's as bad as driving drunk.
Right. You know, I think about like the science that's come out that said like our brains don't fully develop till we're 25.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, is there even a way to like keep a kid away from cannabis until they're 25? Because I mean, if you haven't consumed cannabis by 25, like it's a small percentage of people that start using it after that.
Yeah, I think it's the same as like drinking or smoking cigarettes or really any of that stuff. It's like, I know a guy he's 31, he's never drank and never smoked weed. But he's at the point where he's like, well, I don't really care. Like, I don't really want to that bad.
Right.
And that's where it's like, you must hit a certain threshold of age where you're like, well, I haven't done it for this long. Why would I do it now?
Right.
But I started as soon as I could get my hands on weed because I was like, that seems fun. I want to try it. But then I didn't know how to get it. But as soon as I did, I was like, well, I love smoking weed. I'm not going to stop.
Where did you try cannabis for the first time?
My buddy Alex's garage. We got like an eighth from a dude who lived down the street. And then we all smoked. It was like 8 of us. We smoked out of a one hitter in his parents' garage. And we bought wraps, but none of us knew how to roll it. So we just smoked out of a really dirty one hitter that my buddy's brother gave him.
Yeah.
And I mean, I freaked out the first time. We all did. We got really scared that the cops were coming and shit. But then afterwards, we just kept doing it because we had this little bag that we didn't use all of. And then like the second and third time, I was like, oh, this is fun. And there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah. Except here we are like 10 years later, like still afraid of the cops.
Very afraid. Yeah, that is like, and I don't know why the distinction in my head, I'm more afraid of state troopers.
Okay.
Than I am. So like if I get too high and I'm like, well, I do have to get home because I like to smoke after a show.
Okay.
To decompress and like hang out for a while. I'll take like a county road or like side streets all the way back to Blaine to avoid a state trooper because I'm like, those guys have always been way harder. Where I feel like a local cop would just be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Give me my ticket and move on if I got one.
Yeah. What's the road life been like for you in 2026?
It's a lot of flying.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of going to different states and stuff, which has been interesting because I've gotten to go into dispensaries in almost all of the legal states.
Yeah, you were mentioning. So what states have you toured in this year?
This year, it's been where so far. It's kind of hard to think. North Carolina, Texas, Oregon, California, North and South Dakota, everywhere in the Midwest, but that's been for the past few years.
Okay, yeah. You were just in Chicago.
Yeah, I go to Chicago pretty often. Good. Yeah, the shows are good. I like Chicago because it's like a bigger here.
Okay.
So it feels like the jokes translate.
Okay.
Whereas some states it's a little harder. But like,
where have you been the least well received?
Is
there anything that stands out?
Not particularly. There, California, I guess, in like
I could see that.
LA or San Diego, it's like the younger people have money, and it's like a lot of the young people here don't, or they don't have rich parents.
Yeah.
So it's easier to connect with that than
Yeah.
it is over there where they're like, well, I'm 25 and I'm a marketing rep. And it's like, well, I don't know how to talk to you. I wouldn't even know how to talk to you at a bar. So it's even harder performing to them. So there, but it's like the sets go fine, but I can tell some of the stuff I'm saying, they're like, I don't know what you're talking. I don't know what you
not
mean.
relatable. Yeah. But in Illinois, you said that makes sense. Like, I've been liking some of your jokes about your dad,
Oh, thanks, man.
and like going to Target is something that people do around Minnesota. So like,
Yeah.
those are pretty relatable. Yeah.
Yeah, those Minnesota is I'm biased to because I do the best here.
Sure.
Because it's like, or really here, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, because it's sort of a universal experience in the Midwest to have a dad like that, or just even some of the references, they don't feel local, but like you said, Target, even though it's national, Minnesota people shop at Target.
Yeah.
A lot more than other parts of the country.
Yeah. I like the opener. I've got the Uncle Pat sticker on the front of my
Oh, yeah.
iPad.
Yep.
She was funny.
Elise was very funny.
Elise. The guy,
Sean, yeah.
you remember they were like the funniest guy in Minnesota.
Oh, they did that's right. They did the contest when you guys came.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always tough.
You addressed that situation pretty well.
Yeah, that was how they used to do it. So when I did the contest in 2018, they would have you like go through the green room and to get on stage.
Okay.
And then they stopped doing that for at least when I came back to doing stand-up. And then it hadn't been a thing until that night.
Oh,
and they were like, we'll try it again. And on the first night, a guy ruined it. So they are going back to making them sit in the showroom and watch the show.
that guy definitely ruined it.
Oh, he ruined the vibe for sure. And I was like, I asked the manager, I was like, can they not be in there anymore? I was like, I really don't like being that person, but that guy fucking sucked. It was like the other three were totally fine, pleasant to talk to, but that guy sucked.
Recently you were on the Tony Hinchcliffe Kill Tony show.
Yes, I was.
Tell me how, like, luck of the draw, like how did you?
Yeah, I mean, that was purely luck, and I was in a bad fucking mood right before that because I have been trying to get into the club down there. So I've been doing these like callback sets when I go back down to try and work my way into being able to send availability.
Okay.
And that callback just didn't go very well. It was pretty mid.
Okay.
And then I was just like, fuck this. I come down here. I try to do this every time I'm in town. And the crowd's like, at least there, it feels like they're there to see a specific person.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of bummed until that person shows up.
With Kill Tony?
No, just
at
the mothership.
Yeah, the mothership. Yeah.
It feels like people, because you can buy tickets for either the big room or the little room.
Okay.
And they have you perform at the little room for like their open mic callback, and then their regular people come through.
Sure.
But those are cheaper tickets. But sometimes someone like Tony or Shane Gillis or Ron White, someone will stop in.
Yeah.
So like that word has gotten around enough that people have stopped in.
Nice.
That people try to buy cheaper tickets and hope that the person they want to see shows up.
Yeah.
So it feels like they're kind of bummed that they're not getting the persons or people that they wanted.
Right.
So it always feels like pulling teeth when I'm there, at least. So I just didn't have a great set.
So you're at the mothership. Then where do they film Kill Tony?
At the mothership, in the bigger room.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So you're there.
And then, but they have you wait at a bar just down the block from the mothership, and then they call your name, and then you run through an alley. And then you got to give a security guard all your stuff. And then he pats you down and gives you like a metal detector. And then they put you behind the curtain and call your name.
Okay.
So, and it happens really fast.
Wow.
But after the callback, I was sitting in the holding area where all of the comics are. And I'm texting my fiance. I'm like, this fucking sucks. I want to go home. I'm like, I think I might switch my flight around and come home early. And then they called my name. But I was fully prepared to like leave and not.
Did you have one joke that you were planning on using?
No, because I had gone down there before because a lot of my friends live there.
Cool.
So I can go down and do spots in town anywhere else but the mothership, really.
Okay.
So I have a lot of friends down there it's always nice to see them.
Yeah.
But after that one, I was like, fuck this. And then they called my name, and I was fully expecting to not get called and to go back home. And I was like, I'll just fly out tomorrow and whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'd gone down like 4 or 5 times prior.
Oh, wow.
And tried to sign up and then didn't get called.
See, there's a good chance that you won't get called.
Oh, yeah. There's probably upwards of 150 people that sign up.
And how many spots do they do per?
I think like 8 or 9.
Yeah, so you're under 10%.
Yeah. And
5% chance.
So I was like, I'm probably not going to get called. I don't really even care about getting called that much. I more so wanted to get into the club because then you get paid to be there. And
yeah, they probably run a pretty good ship.
Yeah. So I was like, that was more my goal in going down there than doing, because I'm like, I'm already here. I may as well sign up, sort of a thing.
Okay.
And each time I hadn't gotten on, I wasn't too beaten up about it.
Sure.
I'm like, either way, I'm still doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But then they called my name, and then, so I really had no plan whatsoever.
I don't know, you tell me, but like, you know Tony, you've met Tony, you've been out to Skankfest, right? So like,
yeah,
he has some idea of who you are?
I don't think so. Not
really?
Before that.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's pretty,
nowadays,
he's like an insulated guy.
Got you.
Because he's like a celebrity.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
he's really come up in the last 5 years.
Yeah, so he has his friends, obviously.
Okay.
There's no reason for him to want to talk to me.
Got you.
So I don't think he had any idea who I was prior to. And to be honest, he's probably forgotten who I am right now. Yeah.
But what has it been like now after you did your set?
They put it on posters now, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if many people show up for that reason. Comedy is a lot of like opportunities compounding.
Okay.
So it's, at least in my case, it's not one certain thing. It's like, oh, I saw you open for this person, or I saw you on this podcast that I like, and then they come and buy tickets. But it's never been one solid thing that has drawn a sizable amount of people out.
I think it's kind of similar for me.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why I keep doing this show is like, not that one is going to pop off. I mean, for us, popping off would be 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Like, it's still pretty small, but like, more people are watching it every week. And if we keep having better, in the sense of more relatable guests on, we'll find out who we really are and what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I think there's really, even the idea of overnight success, like doing stand-up now for an extended period of time, there's some people, to the general public, that's like, oh, this guy came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh no, he really didn't. It took probably 10 years for you to know who he was.
Yeah. My favorite comedian is Tim Dillon.
Yeah, he's great.
And, you know, he has no problem reminding you, like, he was doing tour bus.
Right.
He was a bus tour guide in New York City, and like Tim Dillon is he's I don't have to tell his story, right? It's out there. But no, I'm with you. I don't think it is overnight. And like, so much of what you do is like, you reinvest it to try to get to that next place. Cause like, you're going down to Austin this month for like.
Yeah, next week actually. But this time my fiance is coming with, which is going to be nice. So it'll be less work and more like actually enjoying the city.
Yeah.
Which I'm looking forward to, because every time I go down there, it's just a lot of like hanging out with people and going to the clubs and stuff. But I don't really get to explore Austin that much. So to be able to bring her with, we can like drive around and go see other shit.
Yeah, there's water and
like
enjoy.
I'm excited to go. We're going to go to Barton Springs, which is like a swimming spot that I've heard local people talk about, but I've never had the time to go check it out.
I mean, that's why I like I like the framing of the word partner
Mm-hmm.
because it is somebody that you can go to Barton Springs.
Yeah, do fun stuff like that with, and there's no, because like in stand-up, it always feels like there's so much pressure on the individual because your career is what you make your career. You're your own boss entirely.
Right.
So to go down there with her and reframe it as this isn't so much work as it is getting to hang out with my friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Quality time together.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's what was nice about COVID was for a while there, people were just getting their work off like wherever they wanted.
Yeah.
If they were able to work remotely. But, my wife, we met when I was 27. How old are you?
27.
Yeah. So we met, I was 28, I think. I just turned 28. But like, she held me down for a long time with like having the regular job and having the benefits and things like that. And like, I'm glad to see that things are continuing to open up for you because as a man, like there's just something inside of us that like we want to provide.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I mean, like, especially like almost for me, it's not necessarily provide in the sense that it is, because my fiance is a software engineer. So it's like to be able to be on par with that level of success in what I do, to just be like, we are equals to one another.
Right.
And I'm not, because right now stand-up is so much more about like making connections with clubs and making, so like I'm still in like a foundational stage, but it's like to be able to work to a point where not necessarily people know who I am, but it's like I can tour independently on my own and sort of have the same level of success as her in the sense of my own career path.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And it's about also just mutual understanding of what success means.
Yeah.
That's the internal conversation, the dialogue around, we're doing two different paths.
Mm-hmm.
However, like there is an equal, like you've agreed to like, and those are personal conversations, but they're important to have.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think like, would my wife like to have someone else who she doesn't work a 9 to 5 anymore, but for a long time she did. So it's like, is that who she wants, or is she actually attracted to somebody who's totally different than?
Yeah, I think some people are, and I think like the opposite, though they work together well because it balances itself out.
Yeah.
Because my life is really chaotic and hectic, and there's a lot of traveling, and she has a very stable 9 to 5 job that she's like, it's pretty boring, but she's like, it pays the bills, and I don't have to worry about money in the same way that you do.
Right.
So, but because of what I do, I can bring her with to do these sorts of things and go, she can come on the road with me and like travel around, and she's very calming to me to have around, which I appreciate because everything else is really chaotic and stressful in my life.
Sure. Well, wait till you see Canna Connect Brainerd, man. It's been
just,
I mean, we're trying to pull off something. Here's what we're trying to do. There's like these national trade shows that have been coming into town since like the Delta 8 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk through all these vendor booths.
Yep.
These aisles of but these trade show or these conference centers are owned by entities and organizations that are not cannabis friendly.
Oh, yeah.
So they'll take the ancillary cannabis dollar and they'd love for you as a cannabis consumer to buy a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have the product on site.
That was, I vaguely remember it was in Uptown, kind of by the Walgreens in that basement area when I came with my buddy Trey.
Yeah.
And people were smoking out of like the vaporizer bags, but it was cold out and you had to go outside under a tent to smoke. And it was like I don't think the vapor stuff is gonna stink this place up that much. There must be some sort of reason that we have to smoke in the cold.
Yeah, that was October of 2023, and yeah, that was probably around the time we were connected.
Yeah.
But there's the Minnesota Indoor Clean Air Act, and they have we have one of the strictest indoor smoking rules in the country.
Gotcha.
And so there's so many cannabis entrepreneurs that would love to open up lounges.
That I've always thought about that. I'm like, why can't we do like a hookah place for weed? But that makes sense.
Yeah.
That there's some sort of stipulation.
It's a super hard one to get unknotted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, get this. On Friday last week, we were up at Fond du Lac,
Mm-hmm.
Black Bear Casino in Cloquet or Carlton, Minnesota.
Yeah.
On tribal reservation, on sovereign land, they have a tasting lounge.
Oh.
And they have a really good hash program. So they're selling flights of hash for like $10 to $14,
Mm-hmm.
like you'd buy a flight of beer.
Yeah.
And it was great. And because they're on sovereign land, there's people are hitting the Puffco inside
Right.
through the bar.
Yeah.
It's not just like bring your own hash.
Right.
That's fine, right?
I mean, that would totally be fine if it were like Amsterdam, where it's like you got to buy the joint here, but you can smoke it here.
Right.
Totally fine.
And those joints are $5 or $10,
right.
not $22.
That's the thing that gets me too. Even with like the drinks,
Yeah.
where it's like I don't drink, but I'll go out and I'll try to be like, well, I'm going to be social and have drinks with my friends, but one of mine is $15. I'm not going to buy 3. If they were 7, yeah.
You read my mind. I mean, when's the last time you saw $7 for a THC beverage on a menu?
Never. I don't think ever here.
Why is this $15?
That's what I'm saying. It's like this I equate to how many milligrams is this? 5. This is a beer.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would this have to be $16? Because I went to CC Club. We went, my lady and I, we went out on a date night and we went to Nightingale and then the CC Club.
Great.
And then she got a beer and I got a seltzer, but the seltzer was $16 and it was 5 milligrams. And I'm like, this is going to do absolutely nothing to me, but I'm going to fucking pay $15 just to be like, well, I'm having a drink with my fiance.
The drink costs $2.50, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
Then you factor in testing, whatever, to get it out the door.
You mind if I crack this?
No, yeah, please. That's our latest one. I'll send you home with one too. It's got a good amount of CBD in it and 2-to-1 CBG to THC ratio.
I opened for Sam Talent at Sisyphus.
Oh.
And he was putting me on to, he's really into the terpenes.
Really?
And stuff. And he sent me like this whole chart.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, I would like to get into it, but I think that goes hand in hand with the success I was talking about earlier, where it's like, to be able to go, this is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
The terpenes in it may cost more than one that's cheaper, but you know what I mean? To be able to be choosy about it.
Here's the flip though. Like at the end of the day, the restaurant's making $7 off you.
Mm-hmm.
Or more. I know more than I can share. Not more so because I can't recite it all to you.
Yeah.
I just don't understand where that $15 price point comes from.
I don't really either, because it's like, it's not even, I guess here, sure. But like on a how I've been buying weed, it's always been like $10 a gram.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to just buy one singular gram, it's $10. And then the price varies after that. It's like, where are you getting the number seems pretty arbitrary, and it's like they're digging in our pockets for what
I mean, just think how cheap beer was when you think back to what Wisconsin beer prices were like.
Oh, I mean, I was just back home. It's $3
at the bar.
Yeah,
at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That means it left the distributor, it left the manufacturer, it's made its way to the retailer.
Yeah,
the 3-tier system, which is what they're more than likely going to move these beverages to.
Mm-hmm.
So made at Earl Giles, distributed at GRD, sold to bars, restaurants, dispensaries around the country.
Mm-hmm.
Each time you make a little bit more money. The retailer makes more than the distributor makes more than the manufacturer. It's a volume play. Still, a good 4-pack of beer should cost me less than $20.
Yeah, like you're talking like a brewery
grade beer.
Absolutely, I would put that at about $15.
Okay, yep.
$16.
And more than likely, that's where these products are going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's companies in this space that fucking found the pocket.
Yeah.
And are just beating the drum.
Yeah.
They're just milking it, dude.
Well, that's kind of what gets me about like the dispensaries and like the tax cost. And it's like where states usually are kind of like, well, we'll use the tax money to fund. And it's like, you're not going to get someone that regularly smokes weed. You're going to get an Edina mom who comes out and gets gummies to sleep once every 2 weeks. If you lowered the price on this, you would get a regular adult use smoker. I would come into the store at least once a week, probably more, to get more weed. And it's like, at that point, doesn't the volume supersede the...
2 years ago, the taxes were only going to be at 10%.
Right. That's what I thought. Now it's like 15 or
now
something.
It's 15.
Yeah.
Which when we rallied against that, it was marketed as a 50% tax hike, 10% to 15%, 50% tax hike.
Yeah.
That was purely because of mismanagement of the Minnesota state budget.
Oh, okay.
That we became then like the new kid on the block. So like, let's take their lunch money.
Gotcha.
Before the program even got started.
Yeah.
Before consumers even had the chance to pay that high taxes.
Yeah.
And they hit it on the CBD side too, which predominantly is grandma.
Yeah, that's my mom and my dad use CBD to sleep and stuff.
Me too. Like, and so like I generally, like the folks that were buying 6 packs of CBD water, which was like $30.
Yeah.
Right. It's twice as much as beer, if not more.
Significantly more. Because like, I mean, a 6-pack of PBR is less than $10.
Wow.
I think, at least in Wisconsin.
But I mean, because if you think about it, they're producing millions of cans.
Yeah.
So they're able to like make less but sell more units. However, like you see these 6-packs and 12-packs at, I think maybe even 24-packs. Like, what's 12 times 6? Like $80 for a case of THC bevs. The milligrams is not even the most expensive part of it.
What is?
Well, it's seltzer water. I mean, really, most of these breweries are making seltzer water.
And then somehow infusing
it with flavors and things like that. But like, it is not expensive to make. But there is a ton of regulation around it. And yes, there's probably more coming. Because Texas and Wisconsin, similar hemp markets.
Yeah. Well, like going to Austin feels a lot like going to Wisconsin.
Yes.
Where it's like you'll go to a smoke shop and they have weed essentially, but it's not. And it's like THCA or Delta 8 or 10 or whatever, but it's like, this is the Wild West. Like in Wisconsin, I went to a few bars with my parents a few weeks ago, and they were selling like joints at the bar of Delta 8 weed.
That's crazy.
And it's like, this isn't regulated whatsoever. I can buy this joint, walk outside and smoke it. And they're like, yeah, that's fine.
You've got to get to another podcast here relatively soon. I'm looking forward to keeping this conversation going in Brainerd.
Yeah.
Tickets are on sale right now. They're on Eventbrite. Surprise special guest, Aidan McCluskey, will be in the house.
Yes.
And I mean, I really enjoyed this. There's a lot we can talk about. Cannabis is still so new in the sense of a above ground.
I love learning about it because, like I said, it's the only illegal thing that I do in my life that I reluctantly do because I don't drink. And it's like, if it were legal, I would live a totally legal life. So learning more about what I can do
Yeah.
to be a law-abiding citizen but enjoy what I like to do.
Yeah. We didn't get too far into this, but take this home with you. Take a look at it. I'll get more into it with Spencer. He's also from Wisconsin. I mean, really, though, like where I could see cannabis going in 20 years is it could be regulated like alcohol.
I would love that.
It could ship across state lines. So you'd see heavier concentration of cultivation in California.
Mm-hmm.
You'd see exports.
Yeah.
You know, the way we talk about champagne,
Yeah.
people could talk about cannabis in
Right.
certain regions of the country. And the great thing is the U.S. has a head start on a lot of other countries. So we are doing well, but progress is a slow process.
I guess before I go, I always ask, what is your projection for like total legalization?
Yeah.
Across the country, whether that's like within the state or federally legal. How many years do you think?
So this year, I'm expecting cannabis to go from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3.
Mm-hmm.
It already has started to move that way for medical. What that means is you're going to get regulated by the DEA instead of regulated by the OCM. So it's not like the oversight will ever be fully off.
Mm-hmm.
However, descheduling cannabis, regulating it like it's alcohol, is 5 years from an announcement, perhaps.
Whoa.
Let's just say the Democrats take the White House
Mm-hmm.
in a couple years.
I believe they will.
Based on how
I have a feeling they will, yeah.
You'd be crazy to not build upon the progress of the Trump administration with respect to cannabis rescheduling and descheduling, because the Biden administration was also on the same tip.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't get it done politically.
Gotcha. I saw that he had signed some sort of bill that, like you said, it became Schedule 3. But with all of these things, they make it an announcement, and I'm like, so it's good. And then people are like, it's not at all. You can't do that.
Like when they ended the Iran war.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That was great.
For like 4 hours. Yeah.
Not great. So Schedule 3, the hearings wrapped up today.
Oh.
So there were hearings in Arlington, Virginia for 2 weeks. And now the judge will rule on following the hearing.
Mm-hmm.
They expect some lawsuits to push back against it.
Okay.
But they're projecting that the administrative law judge will rule in favor of rescheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Which then that helps with taxes and research. Doesn't necessarily help with banking or with consumers.
Yeah.
From a price point perspective, but it helps entrepreneurs. And then it's just how can they keep pulling that line?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need taxes. We need money. We're in a lot of debt.
Well, yeah, insurmountable.
And so like I applaud the Trump administration for moving forward with cannabis and trying to create better rules, because it's preventing institutional investment dollars from entering the space.
Oh, I didn't even know. I wasn't aware of that.
There's not clear guidance from the Treasury
Mm-hmm.
and from FinCEN of how banks work with something that's federally illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So by rescheduling it, they're taking some of the handcuffs off of.
Gotcha. So then, like, potentially could be able to use a credit card
Instead of a debit card.
Yes.
Or an ATM.
Right.
And that won't happen this year, but the credit card aspect, I could say 3 years.
Okay. Because that is more convenient. Because I'm somebody that I put everything on my credit card and pay it off at the end of the month.
Sure.
The only time I genuinely use my debit card is if I'm in a state where it's legal and I have to pull money out.
And those are the things that keep it in the black market.
Oh yeah. I mean, the price, that sort of a thing. It's like I went to where was I? I was in Arizona, and I didn't have a debit card at the time, and the guy wouldn't. He's like, you can't do anything about it. And then that night at the club, I just went and asked the people that worked in the kitchen. I was like, can I buy like an eighth from you guys? And they were like, yeah. It was like, I tried to do it the right way, and you guys wouldn't let me.
Right.
So I have to do it illegally.
Yeah, there's a lot more, there's many more zeros beyond what they're projecting the cannabis market to be because of the underground market, and then as well with the hemp stuff.
Yeah.
So if Wisconsin if they get squeezed out of hemp,
Yep.
then there's a whole lot of gray area there. But if they were like Texas, that has a medical cannabis program and a hemp program, the medical cannabis people are now getting excited because where are those customers going to move to? A lot of them are going to move to the above ground medical side. Not all, but that's why some of these folks are fighting to like just ban hemp, because it will benefit the licensed cannabis businesses.
Gotcha. Huh.
And in that restaurant in Wisconsin doesn't need much more than whatever they had operating as a restaurant and a bar to sell these products. So they think it's great.
Yeah.
But it's very unregulated. And those are the ongoing conversations in the industry of how do you regulate hemp, cannabis, marijuana, medical marijuana, all of these different connotations of the same plant.
Yeah. Huh. Very interesting, man. Thanks for having me on.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I hope Brainerd goes well. Please support us. Canna Connect Brainerd coming up July 30th. Tickets are on sale. Aidan McCluskey will be there, and it's going to be great. 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. July 30th at the Northern Pacific Center.
Cool.
We'll see you there.